Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering the Feral Druid. This is a specialization that I was terrified of playing. I thought that I would have a miserable time. I thought it would be too complicated. And this barrier and this fear prevented me from an experience of a lifetime. This specialization in Dragonflight is one that you cannot miss out on. So throughout this video, we're going to be talking about the strengths and the weaknesses, the advantages and disadvantages of playing the Feral Druid and what it is exactly in its essence that you need to check out before this expansion is over. So what they've done, which is a phenomenal job with this specialization, is focus on the bleed damage. I really love just powering down area of effect DPS, watching my details just skyrocket, maintaining and managing which targets I want to keep my dots on while still spending combo points towards Ferocious Bite whenever I've got my dots min-maxed. It was a really good time. The utilization of these predatory swiftness procs for regrowths to heal myself or my allies, how I want to allocate my combo points. Like right now, you can see I've used my predatory swiftness to root the Demon Hunter. I love making Demon Hunters angry. I know we probably all are very irritated at Demon Hunters, off-kicking the healer with a Skull Bash in this positioning, refreshing all of those monstrous bleeds towards the target, which in this instance is going to be the Death Knight, and just absolutely tearing into them, just making it miserable for them. This is a specialization that was just chomping up these classes that have been really dominating the ladder. Like if you look at the representation for Demon Hunter and Death Knight in solo queue, like it's some of the highest. You know, some people were thinking that these specs were going to be nerfed and completely gutted, but Unholy Death Knight and Havoc Demon Hunter definitely survived that first wave of nerfs in a solid position, and Feral Druid can tear them up with thorns and bleeds and consistent damage. The utilization of survival instincts preemptively, trying to anticipate attacks on yourself, landing interrupts on multiple targets, decursing your allies, sprinting your teammates around. You've got two builds right now at the moment. I was playing exclusively the bleed build because I loved it, but there's a single target build as well, which I think will have a place. But we're going to start this next round immediately rake stunning, adaptive swarming, Tiger's Fury, getting a Feral Frenzy going, trinketing right away because we just want to get that damage pumping. And you can see already right out of the gate doing massive damage on towards this Unholy Death Knight while also cleaving down the warrior. You also want to be using Moonfire. I don't think I was at this instance, but Moonfire is also going to add a lot of extra damage. A good way to get around effects like evasion and die by the swords and still generate combo points so you can reapply your bleeds after those defensives have fallen. It was really fun. I spent a lot of time, because this is my first time playing the spec, just like if a button lit up, I hit the button that lit up, and that seemed to work. And right here, going in Boomy form and getting a Star Surge on the warrior and actually getting the kill with it was a really hilariously satisfying feeling. I don't know if that's something that I'm going to be doing, you know, a lot or very often, but definitely if an enemy is trying to escape, Star Surge, that was a 36k. So if somebody's going to be getting too far away from me, or they got a defensive that my physical attacks can't get through, shape-shifting into other forms and utilizing those to be able to execute on enough damage for a kill was a super satisfying experience, super fun. And like I said, if you're worried about it being too overcomplicated of a spec, I legit was just thinking about, okay, this button lit up. I guess I'm going to press this button, try to use my Brutal Slash as much as I can so that it's on cooldown. And if it's not, then I'm going to use Shred as a generator if I have all of my bleeds currently active. Here we bait the Demon Hunter into the back of the room. We get a little stun, Feral Frenzy, get all of our bleeds up, spend all of our combo points. But I see Thorns, so I don't really want to attack into that. We're going to swap back, pop our defensives here on the Spear of Bastion, immediately chomp down this Fury Warrior to like 10% health, get all of their defensive cooldowns. I really like attacking non-Demon Hunters just because the instant root on a Demon Hunter is really annoying for them to deal with if you're doing it frequently enough. In this position, I'm focused on using regrowth a lot. We get life swapped. We go back onto the Demon Hunter, start working towards getting our bleeds onto them, reapplying our adaptive swarm. Then they're finally remembering to press Moonfire. This is what I'm saying. Like, you don't need to be playing absolutely perfect at the moment to still have a good time with this specialization. Like a lot of times I'm not Tiger's Furying at the right perfect exact moment, which is nice because it means I'm going to have room to grow and get better at the class, but you can still kind of initially get your feet in the water and have a lot of fun with this spec. And I think using my predatory swiftness procs as well could be another mode of improvement for myself, just watching my own gameplay back. Here we've activated Thorns. We're trying to deter them from attacking us and still get pressure. We're stunning because we're desperate. We want to stay in the power word barrier. We're going to frenzied regen, using adaptive swarm on ourselves to get extra healing for it, and then immediately go back into cap when we've got the Resto Druid in a stun, work towards building up our combo points, go for a bash over onto the warrior. We want to be cleaving this Demon Hunter because we've already got him so low. He's looking really juicy. Would like to off kick the Resto Druid. I end up high mountain stunning him into a fear. trying to maintain our bleeds onto this demon hunter, trying to finish him. We're so close to a kill. Honestly, if my rotation was more perfected, probably would have been dead at this point. We landed off kick onto the resto druid, but he gets blur at 10% health and survives right at that last moment. We're trying to get kicks out of the way for our healer. We jump into bear form to anticipate the stun. We're trying frenzy regen our way through the hunt, but the Spear of Bastion is probably going to be too much. If I had my rotation min-max here, probably would have already gotten a kill on the demon hunter. My bleeds fell off way too much in that position. If I'd survived that stun, I think I might have also had renewal. So just trying to manage your defense and your offense is a super fun engagement. It was really easy for me to just copy a build online with talents and just kind of like plug and play and hit my buttons if you're worried about it being super overly complicated, but it still has the options to explore throughout the talent trees if you want to try and customize your own build. But I was much more just like, I got to get in here, I got to start playing this and hammering my buttons down as much as possible. The big thing defensively I've noticed was that try not to overlap Bark Skin and Survival Instincts. It's better to extend those separately. So like Trinket Survival Instincts on big cooldowns and Bark Skin on little cooldowns when you're stunned is going to be a better mode of transportation. Here we've got full combo points. We're going to get big Primal Wrath Rip, that AoE bleed damage. Look at that, just chewing into this Death Knight. He's looking like a piece of toast in my morning breakfast at the moment. I'm just absolutely tearing everybody apart, doing monstrous amounts of damage almost immediately out of the gate. And now starting to work on spending our combo points for Ferocious Bites. Once we've maintained those bleeds, get our Thrash reapplied, make sure our Moonfires are up. And as soon as we get all these bleeds, we can also just start kiting as Feral Druid whenever you're in trouble. So moving away from enemy attackers, using roots, shape-shifting, keeping snares up, and just avoiding them is also another great way to survive. Here we're using a lot of the hybrid utility of the Druid class, Swift Mends and Rejuvenations, kiting the warrior behind the pillar, trying to overextend them, get them in a bad position. Then once I've recovered, we're going to activate Thorns, go right into that Primal Wrath, try and get maximum bleeds out onto the target once again. We stun the healer and just crack down onto the Death Knight here. Really fun. I cannot underestimate or undersell this fact that like I was really afraid of playing this spec, but after I played it, and I was honestly just goofing around, like I'm sure a lot of the Feral Druid pros are watching this like cringing maybe because I'm not playing the rotation perfectly, but still getting results. So if you were like me, like hesitant, a bit worried about picking it up because you thought it'd be overly complicated, I would say don't be. Just kind of press the buttons that light up, try and get Tiger's Fury and Adaptive Storm up before you apply some of your big bleeds like your Feral Frenzy. That's your really big burst moments, and you're going to be absolutely cutting people down, having a phenomenal time and a blast. Like this might be the most fun specialization that I have played at the moment. We start the fight right again with a Rake Stun, Adaptive Swarm up, Primal Wrath, Feral Frenzy. We're going to pop Survival Instincts preemptively here before we get stunned because I'm expecting the enemies to just use all their offensives, and I don't really want to turn around in this position. I want to keep gunning forward, keep getting our bleeds up. I love the Incarnation and then the ability to re-stealth and then stun another target with that. That's a really cool just little outplay factor that you can get here. We've bashed the Death Knight with a Fear on the Resto Druid, cross crowd control. We get stunned here. We're going to start kiting away. We root the Demon Hunter, and look how angry he is. This is the best part about Feral Druid, is just making Demon Hunters angry, just rooting them and running away from them and stunning them and preventing them from hitting you and just making it impossible. Here we root the Demon Hunter. You want to press the hunt on me? No. I'm going gone. You're not pressing the hunt on me. Oh, line of sighting the hunt, making the Demon Hunter angry. Shadow Meld, re-stealth, stun him up for a second, swap back to the Death Knight, chew him out a little bit, Fear the Druid, get him low HP. He's basically donezo, spamming out these brutal slashes and a big bite to finish him off, like just right there, like just absolute satisfaction of just tearing apart melee attackers, having high mobility. Like I'm playing every spec. I've got a challenge to get 2400 on every spec in solo shuffle. I've got 2 specs down already on my challenge for this expansion. I was trying to get Feral Druid as the next one. And it is just so much fun out of all the specs that I have played. They did a really good job of flexing the Druid hybrid utility. Like I got some Boomkin use out of this. I got some Resto Druid hybrid use out of this. The mobility, the predatory swiftness unique factor, maintaining bleed damage on multiple targets. I really hope that they don't, tune this type of build completely out of the game. And this one I went really reckless. I just went right after the Priest because this Death Knight was having a tough time in this lobby. And I was like, you know what? We got to go after the Priest. We need to just go all in. This is what Death Knights are are great at. What's going to happen if they stack up on us on the priest? I'm going to get bleeds on everybody, and I'm going to be having a really good time. So we get every defensive cooldown right at the start of this round, just like immediately into it. We get Rapture, Darkness, Pain Suppression, just immediately going after priest healers. If you're playing some sort of cleave with a Death Knight, I think is a great idea, especially if you're just falling behind. We're going to off bash the Fury Warrior to try and support our ally, our Death Knight here. We're going to stun up the Discipline Priest outside of the barrier as he got gripped away. We're going to root up the Fury Warrior with our Predatory Swiftness procs, keep chomping into the priest, land interrupts onto the priest, just keep tearing in, trying to maintain our bleeds. Could have been using Brutal Slash more in this position. The fact that I have 3 charges still is not ideal. We can use Thorns to deter damage onto our Death Knight, but just look at everybody dead. Just everybody's dead. They're just all dead. That was my first lobby. I'd never played Feral Druid before. We were top damage. I was just hitting the buttons that were lighting up. I was like, oh, rooting that guy feels good. Healing this guy is kind of cool. All right, I'm going to press that, land a couple of kicks, and style on people. This is the spec to style on people. Super fantastic. Absolutely love it. They did a phenomenal job with it here in Dragonflight. And if you haven't played it yet, you're missing out. If you're afraid of checking it out, don't be, because it is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. You need to be playing a Feral Druid. Other than that, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. If you've already played a Feral Druid, any tips you've got for people, or even for me, as I'm starting my next adventure of climbing the solo queue ladder as a Feral Druid. But other than that, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.